How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to Rangers Rundown. The final away game of the season is complete. The Rangers lost to the Bruins 3-1. Not surprising considering not only the opponent, but who is injured for the Rangers for this game that they played this afternoon. Mott, obviously, still out of the lineup. Kakko has also been out of the lineup. And then Hedl and Kopp apparently are also injured. One with an upper body injury, one with a lower body injury. I believe Kopp is the lower body injury, Hedl with the upper body injury. I didn't even realize that last game both of them were injured. Gallant says that Kakko, Hedl, and Kopp will all be back before the playoffs. The Rangers have 3 games left next Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. I believe that Hedl and Kopp will be back, maybe as soon as next game, because they don't play until Tuesday. But Kakko, he was week to week, so if he comes back for any more than one game, that week-to-week diagnosis seems pretty flimsy. I want Kakko to be back. I want him to play a game or two before the playoffs just so we can get back into shape. But if he also doesn't come back until game 1 of the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised either. I was at a function this afternoon, so I wasn't able to intensely watch the game, but I kept up with it as much as possible. I put the key things on the board, so I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants for this one. But we get into the first period, and the teams, seem to be doing their best back and forth. 5 minutes into the game, there was only one shot each per team, so a slow start shot-wise for both teams. 7:47, Gauthier takes a tripping penalty. Gauthier back into the lineup. McKegg also back into the lineup to replace the 2 Rangers that were injured last game. Nemeth also back in the bottom pair instead of Braun. So Gauthier comes back into the lineup, takes a tripping penalty. Luckily, Bruins don't get much on that power play. 10:01, DeBrusk takes a high sticking penalty. And the Rangers also not much to speak of on that power play. 12:26, Rangers take a too many men on the ice penalty. Lafreniere serves the time in the box for that one. But again, not much clicking for either team in terms of power play in that first period. And we think, all right, get to the end of the first period. Rangers are notorious for their slow starts. Shots are pretty even throughout one period, but with 35 seconds left in the period, Pastrnak ends up scoring a very easy goal. Shesterkin was caught on one side of the crease. It was a great pass across through the slot. Pastrnak buries it into a pretty much open net. Bruins go up 1-0 with 35 seconds left in the period. We get into the second, and it doesn't take Hall long. 67 seconds into the second period, Hall scores a goal, putting the Bruins up 2-0. And if Kopp and Hedl were in the lineup, I think I would have had a little more faith that the Rangers could come back and win this. I didn't have no faith. We've watched this team come back 20-something times after being down at least one goal and coming back to win. So I had faith that, yes, they might be able to come back against the Bruins, but this is a team that, I don't want to say they're not trying, but including today, there was 4 games left in the season. Rangers have home ice for the first round, or at least. And I don't want to say they're coasting, but I really don't think the Rangers played 100% this afternoon. I mean, if they're smart, I certainly hope they weren't, because you have playoffs starting in just over a week, and the fewer injuries that we can have on these players, the better. So Rangers down 2-0. Would I be surprised if they came back? No. Was I surprised that they didn't? No. 9:27, Hunt and McAvoy take offsetting roughing penalties. The second period was the period that I didn't get a chance to watch, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. Maybe a scrum after a whistle. Somebody can let me know in the comments what happened with that one. But they take offsetting roughing penalties, and then Trouba takes the extra penalty at 10:21. So the Bruins get a little over a minute of 4-on-3. A makeup that you don't usually see on the ice, the 4-on-3 power play. Nothing happens with that. We get through the second period, still scoreless for the Rangers, so Boston leading 2-0 after 2 periods of play. We get into the third period, And 142 in, Allmark takes a delay of game penalty. He puts it right over the glass, at which point the Rangers go on the power play, and this one would succeed. 2:58, Zibanejad scores a power play goal, the only goal of the game for the Rangers, cutting the Bruins lead in half, so 2-1 for the Rangers. It's pretty early in the third period. Bruins, at least this season, not great in third periods. Rangers this season, very good in third periods, so you think, all right, Rangers at least are going to tie it up, push it to OT and see what they can do. Obviously, that would not happen. Right as the goal was scored, Carlo took a hooking penalty. So I believe the Rangers got another power play right after that. So back-to-back power plays for the Rangers. Wouldn't score on that one, though. And then at 9:37, Frederick would score a really fluky goal. Shesterkin was able to scoot back over the crease and get a piece of it, but it bobbled over his pad and scooted into the net. And once that goal went in, I was like, yeah, Rangers are not going to get through this. 3-1 against the Bruins with 10 minutes left in the game. If the lineup was healthy and it was the middle of the season, yeah, maybe the Rangers come back, but this game, yeah, I really didn't think they would. They pull the goalie with about 3 minutes left, and the Bruins, to the Rangers' credit, the Bruins did not score an empty net goal, although they came very close a couple of times, but they pulled the goalie with 3 minutes, weren't able to get any goals. So the Bruins do win this one 3-1. The Rangers lose their final away game of the season. So right now, Rangers 51, 22, and 6, 2 points behind Carolina. Penguins also only 2 points ahead of the Capitals. So coming down to the wire, most teams only with 3 or 4 games left. Rangers, if they finish second, could end up playing Pittsburgh. They could end up playing Washington if Washington catches up. If the Rangers end up in first place in the division, they could end up playing Washington. They could end up playing Boston. If Boston catches up to Tampa Bay, Rangers could end up playing Tampa Bay in the first round if Tampa slips into that first wildcard spot, which would not be a fun first round. I would not be as confident going into the first round if the Rangers were playing Tampa. I'd very much rather them play Pittsburgh or Washington. But that being said, stats at the end of the game, shots 31-35 in favor of the Bruins, faceoffs 38% for the Rangers. You're playing Boston, Rangers suck in the faceoff dot, of course. It's going to be 38%. Power play, 1 for 3 though. Bruins went 0 for 3 on the power play. Hits 34-24 in favor of the Rangers. Black 17-11 also in favor of the Rangers. This game was on ESPN Plus as well as ABC, so no trivia question this afternoon. The Rangers have 3 games left, and they're all home games. So next Tuesday, Carolina comes to town. If Kopp and Hedl aren't back for that game, I'm sure that's a loss for the Rangers. Wednesday, so the day after, they play Montreal. Montreal comes to town. I'm sure that's a win for the Rangers, even if Kopp and Hedl are still out of the lineup. I really think that both of those players will be back to play Carolina. Although, if they're on the fence about coming back, what's another day when you're already in the playoffs? Carolina's going to be a tough game anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised if Kopp and Hedl don't come back until Montreal. But again, we'll see. We don't know the extent of their injuries. And then the regular season wraps up next Friday when Washington comes to town. We opened the season against Washington, and that's the way we're going to end it against Washington. And wouldn't it be funny if that final game of the season for both Washington and the Rangers decides who the Rangers play in the first round? Wouldn't it be funny if the last game of the season, if Washington won it, would scoot into third place and play the Rangers, but if the Rangers win it, then they play the Penguins? Wouldn't that be an interesting kind of game to see what happens? I kind of hope it comes down to that, and the Rangers kind of hold their own fate in their hands. But that's it. And then the regular season's over, and then the playoffs start. We'll see which days the Rangers get the first round. Maybe they'll be the Monday, Wednesday, Friday crew. Maybe they're the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. We won't know until the schedule for the first round comes out because some teams still haven't clinched a playoff spot yet. The Pacific Division is still figuring out who's going to make the playoffs. A very tight division. So until then, we'll see what happens. So there we go. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next rundown.